Hello and welcome to my channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are. So, today we are going to see how I made these mandala coasters. They have kind of an antique look to them, and I really like how they came out. So, first and foremost, I used this gold paint pen. It's deco color. So, I used that to initially paint on the mold. I've seen people using mica powders, but I wanted to try the paint pen and see how it worked. So I decided to go and lightly brush the pen against the mandala design that was on the mold. And I did it slowly, making sure I was not doing it on the base and just on the raised etched design. Here you can see in the close up, uh, this video is a little bit sped up, not much, like 1.5, but you can see how I'm going. Don't go this fast. Try to take your time, go slow, do how you can, and just have fun while doing it. One thing I would like to tell you here is that when you use the paint pen, make sure that you don't go over the same area multiple times because it tends to rub off. It's silicone, and silicone will usually repel all the paints and the acrylics you put on. So make sure that you don't go over it multiple times. Only when it's like wet, you just go over one or two times and don't come back and brush over it. Usually, this process is done after you pour the resin and after it is cured and you demold it. Then people usually, or I usually, use acrylic paints, gold acrylic paint, and just spread it around with a brush and spread it in and then wipe it off with a baby wipe, and the paint stays inside the grooves, and then I give it a top coat and seal it in. That's the way I usually do, but I wanted to try and see if this method works because this one has a lot of design and it has a tendency to get some bubbles because of the intricate design. And if you have bubbles, it's really difficult to paint on the acrylic because it gets stuck in the bubbles and it kind of messes up the design. Not very noticeable though, but I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so it irritates me. So I'm trying to figure out a way where I can do this and not mess with the look of the coaster in any kind of a way. So let's see how this will turn out. We'll go ahead and paint the whole coaster. You can fast forward this a few seconds if you don't want to see me doing this because it might get boring for you to look at it. But I loved it and I like watching it in slow motion later when I'm done. So I enjoy to replay my videos and see how I did because when I'm doing it, I don't pay much attention or I'm not thinking too much. I'm just enjoying the process. So usually I watch my videos later and try and see what I did was right, what I did was wrong, what can be changed, or what can be kept as it is. So it's always a learning process. So this videos not only help me to understand the process better, but also helps me to share it with you and give you guys the tips as we go on. So here you can see I'm almost done with the coaster. I'm just covering up the areas that might have been left out or just rubbed out. So here you can see it just glints in the light. The gold is so pretty on those coasters. So I did two initially and two later. So here you'll see me making two coasters. I decided to stick with only one color because most of the design would be covered in gold. Here I use the Meyspring shiny malachite. I am usually not used to greens. I am more of a blues and purples kind of a girl. You can see that in most of my work. But here I decided to go with this green. I wanted to try this out. So it's just plain one pigment mixed with resin, and tried not to go over the 10 to 90 ratio, 10 parts pigment and 90 parts resin. So that will make sure that your resin will cure correctly. So it's just green pigment poured in the molds after brushing them with the gold paint. So here my resin got over. I mixed up some more and added to the coaster again. And I used a little bit of 91% alcohol to spray. I don't have the 99, so I'm using the 91 that I have. It helps in taking away the bubbles, so you don't have to use too much heat. You might be knowing that the heat will damage the molds. So I try to use alcohol if it is the back of the mold. And here you can see I'm using a lighter. I use that before the alcohol. Please do not use it after you spray the alcohol because it'll catch fire. So I let it cure for about 18 to 20 hours. It's pretty cold here, so it needs a little bit more time to cure. So here you can see the demolding. Look at that. Isn't it cool? I really liked how it came out. You can see that little bubbles on it that have come up if you look closely. So that is what I was telling you before. So these bubbles, if I had done the paint later on, they would have like caught on the paint and it would have looked like blobs. So not too many bubbles. This resin is pretty good. I used KS resin out here. I love this resin. And you can see how pretty they are looking. They look almost like antique kind of coasters. So I'm gonna make 2 more of them and make a set of 4. So here you can see after I demolded, the paint actually all came on the coaster. Just a little bit, like kind of a sheen was left on the coasters. And I used baby wipes to wipe it off. Please do not use any abrasives or too much alcohol because that will degrade or kind of make your mold very brittle and it damages very easily. So just use baby wipes. It's very good to clean your hands and even the molds. It takes most of the glitter out too. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching and come back for more. See ya.